including Queen Camilla, as the King undergoes treatment. Well, in a moment, we'll talk about the health implications for the King with our health correspondent, Archie. But first, joining me now from outside Buckingham Palace, our royal correspondent, Rhiannon Mills, and our royal commentator, Alistair Bruce. Rhiannon, to you first, this news took everyone by surprise, and of course it is shocking news to receive yesterday. Do we have any idea how long the palace has been building up to this moment? Was it just hours or days, or was it longer than?
To be honest, they haven't told us, but if you think it was literally a week since the King had left the London clinic after having that prostate procedure, and we saw that picture of him at Sandringham on Sunday. He was smiling, he was waving, he looked fine, he looked to be doing quite well after that procedure. So I think that's why yesterday's announcement came as such a big surprise. The palace today, we've seen the King's Communications Secretary. He's been walking around here, and I think the message is there are going to be no further updates today. But also I think the key thing they're trying to say is that the King and the family are trying to stay as positive as possible. I think what they've done is tried to keep control of how this message was deployed to the rest of the world, knowing, of course, the likes of social media can be rife when it comes to speculation. Of course, we don't know all of the details, so it's still got people talking about what kind of cancer he has, what stage his diagnosis and prognosis is at. But I think also they realised that they had to tell us something, because if he wasn't seen in public for a number of weeks, months, then that would cause more speculation. And of course the doctors have told him you can't do those public facing engagements, which we know he enjoys so much. I was told that that's not necessarily because they think the treatment's going to put him out of action, but it's to make sure that he doesn't get, well, you know, the winter coughs and colds that are going round at the moment. But it does mean that other members of the royal family, they are going to have to pick up the pieces. So we're likely to see the Princess Royal out and about quite a lot today. Last week we saw Queen Camilla. She was incredibly busy, so maybe a bit quieter this week. And we know that Prince William is also going to be back to duties tomorrow after the Princess of Wales, of course, has been unwell too. But I think what they will also probably be doing, and I don't know whether Alistair will agree with this, is also making sure that we do at some point see the King, because if we don't see him for weeks or months, that will simply set the speculation going even more. And also, as Alistair's spoken about a lot throughout this morning, this is a monarch who likes to work. He is a workaholic, as Queen Camilla often calls him, and so he will want to make sure that people see him still doing that role as King.
And of course, everyone will want to see him and hopefully looking well. Alistair, my question to you initially was just break down and remind us, you know, we hear he's not going to be doing public-facing duties in the short term at least. That's one thing. The other thing, which doesn't change, is his overall constitutional role. What's the difference between those two?
Well, the monarch is always required to play a part in the function of government. And as head of state, both the United Kingdom and many other nations, and as head of the Commonwealth, an enormous amount of procedural papers come past the King for his approval. And, you know, where that is required, the King is terribly energetic. He'll be able to get through all of that. And anyway, should there be a time, as I believe there often is when taking treatment for cancer, that he feels unwell, then his private secretaries can make sure that only the absolutely imperative stuff comes forward and the rest is held back. So there's a structure for all of that. And, you know, the fact that he's not going to be in public doing engagements is but the forward-facing element of his role. The reality of what he needs to do can be carried on, and I don't think there's any likelihood of that being impeded.
Rhiannon, there's been a bit of debate about, you know, clearly there are still questions to be answered that people don't know the details of, relating to precisely what type of cancer it is and what treatment he's facing. But relatively speaking, given the stage we're at, 8 or 9 days since he left hospital, is this a far more open monarch in terms of private details that have been shared with us thus far than perhaps we could have expected in not just decades past, but years past?
Absolutely. I remember in recent years, and Alistair would be the same, standing outside of the King Edward VII Hospital talking simply about Prince Philip having a procedure. carried out. And we wouldn't know exactly what it was, and there was always speculation and chatter about whether it was bladder related or what exactly was going on. And you only have to think back to 2021 when Queen Elizabeth spent a night in hospital, and the palace at the time didn't tell us. That was for a back-related problem. The palace only told us once one of the newspapers reported it, and at the time the palace came in for a huge amount of criticism for too much secrecy. I think when you read the statement that we had yesterday, there is this increased acknowledgement, I think, that as head of state, he is integral to so much state business that it is only right that we should know how well he is or not. However, and people have been talking about it this morning, the fact that we don't know what kind of cancer it is or what stage it's at, people in a way want more information now, because he gave so much when he explained that he was going in for that prostate procedure, and now he has announced that he has got cancer. So I think that the palace are in that difficult balancing act between how much they give but also maintaining a level of privacy, because I think when we talk about the institution and monarchy, it sometimes we take a step away from the fact that this is a family who are dealing with this diagnosis. This is an individual patient who, no matter how much he might smile and wave as he comes out of hospital, it will have hit him hard, and now he's having to undergo this treatment, and now we're going to see the family rallying round. Don't you think, Alistair?
Definitely. I mean, and I also think that, you know, it's where you get your strength from those who are closest to you, and the Queen has always provided for the King that stability, so that he can do what he has to do. And because by the nature of the role, he is the deep keel of the Constitution. And we got used to, with Elizabeth II, this constancy. And so we've transferred that to the King, and the King, in his own way, has now been shuddered by cancer in the way that many people are shuddered by such a thing. And so his family will be extremely important. But they can help out. They can support in the outward-facing element of his role, which, you know, they're brilliant at, because, you know, they can get out and do that stuff that he can't.
Alistair, my final question was just, where is the King now? I don't know if the flag is still flying at full mast behind you. I mean, does that mean he's in Buckingham Palace, or could he be nearby in Clarence House? And in your assessment, where does he most like to be? If someone's not well, they tend to want to be in their home and recovering with family. Maybe now the treatment will keep him in London more than he'd like to be over the last year. Where's he spent the most time?
Well, I don't know exactly where he'll be doing his treatment, but what we do know is that the flag is flying over Buckingham Palace, which means that the court is here. It doesn't mean that the King is here, but it means that he's functioning as sovereign from here in London. It's highly likely that he may be just a short distance away down there at Clarence House, which is where his home is. But they haven't told us exactly where he is, but the Royal Standard flies there as well. So while the King is doing what is most important, that is dealing with his treatments, he will go wherever it is deemed most appropriate by his oncologists.
For now, guys, thank you so much. Alistair Bruce, Rhiannon Mills outside Buckingham Palace for us this morning. Let's now bring in our health correspondent, Ashish Joshi, who's in our Westminster studio. Ashish, my first question is how long it takes the best doctors in the world, who we assume are tending to His Majesty, to have a definitive answer of what type of cancer he faces, where it is in his body, and what the best treatment is. Is that something that might not be decided quite fully yet?
I would imagine that the doctors who are treating the King have a pretty good idea of the next stages of his treatment, because they would have carried out the initial investigation. So he went in for an enlarged prostate, and there was something unusual that one of the medical team picked up on. Further investigation, that would have been sent off for analysis. It's come back as cancer. And the investigation now would be, what stage is that cancer at? How far has the cancer spread from the original organ? And then they will assess the patient, the King, for his age, his health, to decide the next plan of treatment. So this, we know already that it's not prostate cancer. That much has been confirmed by Buckingham Palace. And we also know that the King has begun his treatment as an outpatient. So no surgery has been involved thus far. That would mean some sort of therapy like chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or one of the immunotherapies. So this will all be taking place. A lot of it will be at quite an advanced stage, I imagine. They will continue to investigate the cancer and keep discussing how best to treat it. Look, cancer is not uncommon. Sadly, all of us will probably know somebody who has been impacted or affected by cancer. The therapies work very well if the cancer is detected early on, and this was picked up during an elective procedure. That would mean that the king didn't present with cancer symptoms, or he is still asymptomatic. So that would give his family and the rest of us some hope that this has been picked up quite early. But again, every cancer is individual. It affects people in different ways, and there is no singular outcome. If we look at the rates for success, that they're much better. The interventions work much better, but really are dependent on how quickly the cancer has been picked up and identified. And as you keep saying, Wilf, we don't know what sort of cancer it is, and that will really decide what sort of outcome we have here. If you look at what's happening in this country with the cancer rates, we have a look at some of the numbers involved. The King's diagnosis is far from unusual. 1 in 2 people will develop some sort of cancer in their lifetime. Survival rates in the UK have doubled to 50% over the past 5 decades. Every year in the UK, there are some 375,000 new cases of cancer, and that's about 1,000 cases every single day. So it's not a disease which oncologists have no experience of treating. It all really depends on where it is, how far it's advanced, and that will decide the next stages of the treatment for the king. But we know that treatment is already underway.
You mentioned, Ashish, the spread of options of treatment from chemotherapy and radiotherapy to immunotherapy. All of the options, they're debilitating to some extent, obviously some worse than others, but we can expect that to take its toll, hopefully just on his energy and not more than that, but it's not as simple as a course of antibiotics, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. This is one of the reasons that the king would have been advised to step back from his public-facing duties. It is going to be difficult. It's not easy. You speak to any patient undergoing any one of these therapies, and they will tell you that it is extremely draining. Your energy levels are sapped. It's difficult, and obviously this is going to affect your mood as well. All of these will have been considerations for the king, and people around him will be getting the best advice that they possibly can. So they will make sure that he's in the best position to carry on receiving this treatment. And if that means rescheduling all of his public-facing appointments for as long as it takes, then they'll do that. But I heard you having this discussion with Rhiannon. There won't be a daily update on the king's health, but the further he stays away from the public gaze, as it were, then speculation will continue. And Buckingham Palace and the king himself, they've been very good about coming forward and saying that he has cancer. And a lot of that is largely driven, I think, because they saw the reaction to the news of his prostate treatment. Many more men coming forward because it's up to the individual to step forward with prostate treatment if they need it, and that encouraged so many more people to come forward, and they will hope that this announcement, this news about the king's health, will have the same impact. Remember that there's no screening services for men for cancer except bowel cancer. So unless you're symptomatic or unless you're receiving elective treatment for something else and it is picked up, then there's very little you can do about cancer and catching it early on. And that's why people will now start talking about this elective list, which is growing to record levels, 7.6 million, I think, at the last count. thousands, tens of thousands of cancers might have been picked up if these patients were having their elective treatment. So it's as good that Buckingham Palace have come forward and made this announcement in the hope that it encourages other men, because especially in their 70s and 80s, this is the peak age, as it were, for cancer diagnosis. Men in their 70s and men in their 80s. It will encourage other people to think about their own health and to come forward and seek advice, medical advice, if they feel they need to.
Ashish, thanks so much for that medical perspective. Let's bring in now a political perspective. Mari Aurora joins us. Mari, his health is still in good enough shape that he'll continue his weekly audiences with the Prime Minister.
Yes, exactly, Wilfred. So we know that Rishi Sunak this morning has spoken to journalists and explained that his weekly meetings with the kin will continue. He wouldn't be drawn on whether they might be potentially on a video call rather than face-to-face, depending on what King Charles's doctors and the medical professionals advise. But he said nonetheless, in whatever form they take, they will continue. So when it comes to King Charles's constitutional role and his essentially working with the government when it comes to ratifying bills and his work with his red box, for instance, that will continue nonetheless. It is more the kind of public-facing role that Queen Camilla and Prince William will have to take more of their share of while he is stepping back from that. Now, also this morning, the Prime Minister was asked about his reaction to the King and the news about this cancer. And I think we've got a clip we can play you of how he reacted when asked this morning.
Obviously, like everyone else, you're shocked and sad, and just all our thoughts are with him and his family. And, thankfully, this has been caught early, and now everyone will be wishing him that he gets the treatment that he needs and makes a full recovery. I think that's what we're all hoping and praying for. And I'm, of course, in regular contact with him, and will continue to communicate with him as normal.
So you can hear from that clip Rishi Sunak saying he was shocked and saddened when he heard the news about the King. But we've had an outpouring of support from global leaders across the world, from President Biden, President Trump, to Justin Trudeau in Canada, Emmanuel Macron in France as well. So the whole world of leaders really have been rallying behind King Charles and trying to show their support, whether that be through statements or Twitter posts as well.
Mari, thanks so much. We're going to continue this discussion about the King's health situation in just a moment. But first, I just want to bring you some breaking news that John Bruton, the former Taoiseach of Ireland, has passed away. He was Taoiseach in the mid to late 90s, 1994 to 97. And the family statement reads, "It is with deep sadness we wish to announce the death of former Taoiseach John Bruton. He died peacefully in the Mater Private Hospital in Dublin, surrounded by his loving family early this morning following a long illness. He was a good husband, a good father, and a true patriot. We will miss him greatly." We'll have more on that news later on in the day. But John Bruton, the former Irish Taoiseach, has passed away. We're going to pivot back to the top story of the day, and that's the news, of course, of the King's cancer diagnosis. And Russell Meyer is able to join us now. He's the Daily Mirror's royal editor and joins us. Russell, how much of a shock was this when you learnt the news yesterday?
Well, good morning, Wolf. Well, certainly a big shock, not just for us as journalists, but I think the whole country, because we'd seen pictures of the King emerging from the London clinic just a week ago, all smiles, waving to some onlookers who had gathered outside the hospital. And again, he was pictured at Sandringham at the weekend. And I think just, those images didn't tell you the full truth of what he'd been going through over the last week. So, he's into immediate treatment. That tells you of the severity of the situation for him. And certainly the royal family are going to have to pull together over the next few weeks and months, because he will be absent from duties for quite some time, I think.
Do you think that we'll get more information? I know they've said not today, that they're not going to provide daily updates, but once things are definitive in terms of the diagnosis, once all family members have been told, and perhaps told in person with Prince Harry in mind, do you think they'll tell us more details, or do you think this is it now?
Well, I think, the old adage from the palace is not providing a running commentary. And I think that they've, said enough. They will feel in this instance by not only, King Charles discussing his enlarged prostate, the procedure that he was going into the London clinic last week to have done. And this secondary diagnosis has been put forward because of the treatment he's receiving. No doubt he's going to have to attend appointments in central London. There was a fear that he would be pictured potentially going into a cancer hospital. But I don't think there will be a drip of information. I think that they will sort of think that this is a private medical matter. Of course, that the King may decide in due course to speak about the treatment that he's received. But again, they haven't discussed or revealed the nature of the cancer, just saying it's a form of cancer. And I think that sort of blanket the description of what he's suffering at the moment is trying to sort of be all encompassing. There's an awful lot of people who are suffering from cancer all across the country and indeed all across the world. And I think they'll take great comfort in the fact that he's come forward and discussed the fact that he's had this diagnosis and is going through the treatment.
Do you think it is a very open set of announcements we've had in the last couple of weeks from not just the King, I guess, from the Princess of Wales and Kensington Palace as well? Is it a kind of new era in that sense?
Well, certainly. I can't remember a time apart from the late Duke of Edinburgh when he was going into hospital, have a stent fitted. But before that, I mean, it's certainly unprecedented that members of the royal family would discuss their private medical matters. Of course, when the Princess of Wales went in, we were only told on the day that she'd had the operation, and she was there for 2 weeks and is going to be recovering for several weeks at home, and we won't see her until Easter. And the description of abdominal surgery will stop right about there, I think. Now, the King, again, may decide that he wants to put more information into the public sphere. There's been a huge uptake on the NHS websites of people seeking information about enlarged prostates. And I do think that a lot of people will take great comfort in his candidness and in talking about his situation.
And just finally, Russell, clearly the statement was released about the Prince of Wales returning to full duties from tomorrow, and that statement was released yesterday, a few hours before this news about the King. I'm sure there was no coincidence in that timing. To what extent do we expect the spotlight to focus on him and to come obviously years earlier than perhaps people were expecting, but these things happen, and do you think he'll step up to the plate?
Well, I think first and foremost, his main focus is to his wife and his children. I mean, Kate is still going to be at home for many, many weeks. It's half term next week. We'll expect the Prince of Wales to be taking time off to spend with the children, but undoubtedly he's going to have to step up to duties. Easter is coming up. Whether he'll have to fill in for the King on future tours later on in the year, we simply don't know at the moment. But we talked about a slimmed down monarchy for quite a while, and it's looking pretty threadbare at the moment. So the main players are definitely going to have to step up to the plate, whether that's William, Camilla, or Princess Anne, who's often dubbed the hardest working royal, and she's going to be putting in a shift over the next few weeks and months, I'm sure.
Russell, thanks so much appreciated.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, some of today's other news now. Former Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng has announced that he'll leave Parliament at the next election. Mr Kwarteng, who represents Spelthorne in Surrey, told his constituency office last night that he'd not fight the next election. During his time at number 11, he delivered a disastrous mini-budget and was later sacked by then Prime Minister Liz Truss in a bid to reassure markets. Liz Truss is launching a new movement today dubbed the Popular Conservatives, or Popcoms for short. The former Prime Minister, whose short-lived administration lasted just 44 days, as mentioned with Kwasi Kwarteng, hopes to pile pressure onto Rishi Sunak to cut taxes and embrace tougher immigration policies. People across Turkey continue to mourn the tens of thousands who died during last year's devastating earthquake. 1 year on, a massive rebuilding effort is still trudging along as some still search for their loved ones and seek answers. More than 50,000 people lost their lives when 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck southern Turkey and northwest Syria last February. At least 3 people have died after a storm brought near record amounts of rain and destructive mudslides across parts of California. The storm was the second so-called Pineapple Express weather system to hit the state in the past week. The National Weather Service said that across 2 days, it was the third wettest period in more than 140 years. A British-owned cargo vessel was attacked in the Red Sea this morning. The UK Maritime Trade Operation said the attack happened west of Hodeidah in Yemen just after midnight. No crew were injured, and although the vessel sustained small damages, it was deemed safe to continue its journey. Well, international correspondent John Sparks is in northern Iraqi city of Erbil for us this morning. John, break down what we know happened and how significant it is in all of the events and incidents of recent weeks.
Yeah. Wilfred, I'm sorry, the comms, the communications went there, but I can tell you that Anthony Blinken is really sort of gearing up on what is a fairly crucial tour, diplomatic tour of the region. He's been hopping out of planes yesterday in Saudi Arabia. Today he's in Egypt. He's got a couple of other stops to make on his tour. And he is carrying, a very large briefcase. He wants to try and put a lid on the tit-for-tat attacks, the tit-for-tat violence that we've been seeing around the region. And he needs to make some progress on the situation in Gaza. There are proposals out there for a ceasefire, but can that be turned into a deal? The humanitarian situation in Gaza, that's got to be discussed. It's dire. 27,000 people now have lost their lives. That causes real heat and passion in the region, and he knows that. And there need to be discussions about what happens when the Israelis withdraw from Gaza. What is the Strip? What is the Gaza Strip going to look like? I mean, these are tough things to discuss. So he's got a lot of work ahead of him. And as you were saying, we have actually experienced what I would call a couple of quiet hours here when you compare it to the last few days. It's been tumultuous, it's been quite quiet, but we have heard from this British-owned ship. It was it had to take evasive maneuvers after a projectile, some sort of missile was fired at it overnight. It has come out of that experience unscathed, no injuries, no casualties, we are understanding. But it does go to show, doesn't it, that the Houthi militia show absolutely no sign of stepping down, of withdrawing from their campaign to disrupt shipping, despite the fact that the Americans and the British have been hitting their targets for almost a month now.
John, thanks so much for that. John Sparks from Erbil. We're going to have a very quick look at the weather now.
Warm memories wherever you go. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
Rain will move southwards today, introducing colder air from the north, which will bring some wintry hazards this week. Northern parts of both the UK and Ireland look mainly dry and sunny this afternoon, but northern Scotland will see blustery showers, some wintry. It'll be on the cold side there. Elsewhere, it'll be mild and windy, with rain spreading southwards, but the far south of England will be mainly dry with some brightness. Much of Ireland, North Wales and the North Midlands will dry up later, and the wind there will ease. That's your weather.
The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
You're watching Sky News, and still to come, we'll speak to Buckingham Palace's former in-house GP after the King revealed his cancer diagnosis. We'll be right back.
Ageism is so embedded in our society that it influences how we think, feel, and talk about growing older, affecting how we think about and treat others, how we see ourselves as we get older, and even the things we do. Ageism limits our opportunities in later life and threatens all our futures. We all need to change the way we think so that we all have the chance to age with confidence. So, are you ageist? Find out at agewithoutlimits.org.
Rejuvenated, etc. For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting, then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa will provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info at at welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. I want to salute each and every one of you and say once again, welcome to the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Today is the 6th day of February the year 2024, with the time now exactly at 10:49. My apologies there, and it is the Tuesday edition of the morning show, as I did say. So do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. But all in all, let me say welcome to the program. From now till exactly 12:30, when we bring the program to a close, I'm going to make sure that I bring you everything that you need to know, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. I say it all the time, it's making the headlines. Why not? I'm going to touch on it. But you can do me a massive favor. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God. Yes. But good morning to my producer, my able producer. When I was about going about gallivanting, not gallivanting by say, but I was doing some work outside there in town, running around. He was here making sure that the production will start right on time. Mr. Francis Guy, massive good morning to you. Let me say good morning to Mr. Olayomi Koiki as well. Yomi, I hope you are doing very, very well. As I did say yesterday, please get in touch and let's see the next stage of events here. Okay. So we're going to be doing that, so don't you worry at all. And then straight on to Bishop Adesina. Massive good morning to you. Anthony Adeji, good morning to you. Aziz, wherever you are, good morning. Shamsuddin, hey my brother, I hope you are doing very, very well. Felix, massive good morning to you as well. And then to the one and only Kojo D. Kojo, good morning. How are you doing? Yes, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 10:50. Okay, so by way of program online, this is what's going to be. I'm going to bring you the quotes for the day. The weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. It's not a global trotting. Then after that, we'll look at some of the details of the stories making the round across the globe, as we normally will. And then we'll continue from thence and open the lines at 12 o'clock. We'll continue from there, looking at some of the other stories, the details of the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. And then at 12:30, we'll bring the curtains down for the end of the program. So that's what we're going to be having today. So wherever you are, stay tuned and don't even think of touching the dial. It is Starr Radio UK, and I remain yours sincerely, your one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
Okay, let's crack on. Now, when it comes to the quote for the day, it's quite an interesting one, a very short but concise one. And it says, well, discomfort is necessary for great chances. Discomfort is necessary for great chances. Do you believe in that? Yes. So you put yourself in that particular place, not that you're just trying to maim or harm yourself. No, that's not what you're, but sacrificing, you know, that you have to wake up. Well, you have to push on. Well, doing all those stuff. Yes, it's causing you some discomfort. Maybe at times it's time for you to eat, but you know what you're doing. You cannot stop to eat and you continue to go on. And it's all placed in there. So, whatever it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. That's by way of the code for the day. Now, let's move on straight to the weather front as well. On the weather front this morning, well, for London and the southeast of England, top temperature is going to be 14 degrees and lower is going to be 6 degrees. But the details, cloud will take in this afternoon with spells of rain developing from the north by evening, mild and windy though. Then the start of tonight will be cloudy and wet with rain overhead, heavy in places. Cloud and rain will clear southwards later and winds will ease, leaving clear skies to end the night. A colder night expected as well. UV level is going to be low, pollution is going to be low. Sunset 16:59. It's all right for tomorrow morning, 07:32 hours, and that brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you today. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and we go straight on to the travel update. And what have I got for you, boy? Well, the Central Line has got minor delays for those of you traveling on the underground. That aside, all the other underground lines are running a good service. DLR, London Tramlink, London Overground, good service there. That brings us straight to the major roads in London. In the major roads in London, the Central London Red Routes and North Circular A406 has got serious delays. So if you can avoid it, do your best to do so. The River Bus is running a good service. The London Cable Car is also okay. There is no service on the London Cable Car. So if you are planning to use that, be warned, there is no London Cable Car running for today. And that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update. And which one is that? That is the National Rail. But keep your eyes on the roads as we keep it navigated. Now, on the National Rail, well, I'm going to tell you the ones that are running a good service. So if you don't hear the name, that means it's no good service there. All right. Now, first out trains, good service. Gatwick Express, Grand Central, Great Western Railway, good service. Heathrow Express, Lumo, Merseyrail, Transport for Wales, and West Midland trains are all running a good service. That aside, all the others are running either a minor service or are having minor delays, or they are running a special service there. So that is the end of the travel updates for you today. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're going to take a quick break, and once we come back, I'll bring you the details, or I'll take you on the global trotting with the news that is making the rounds this morning. Wherever you are, stay tuned. This afternoon exactly at 1:30, BB Clement will be coming your way with BB Means Business, and we want you to keep your dial so logged on Starr Radio UK to enjoy that program. Stay tuned, don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244-941-002 or 00233-2006-06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now exactly to 2 minutes to the top of the hour, and it's now time for us to go global protein. Now, what is happening from across the globe when it comes to all the news that you need to know? Now, first and foremost, let's touch on what is happening here in the UK. Last night, information came through that the King Charles III, has a form of a cancer. So King Charles' cancer caught early, says Sunak. After treatment begins, the King began a schedule of regular treatments on Monday and is staying at home in London rather than in the hospital. Okay, so as everybody is saying, we wish him all the best and wish him a speedy recovery. Other stories coming in. William and Harry and the other royals. What does it mean for them? Well, the King said information coming from Buckingham Palace says that they were informed personally by the King, and Prince William is on his way to the UK to stand by the dad. Now, Kwesi Kwarteng to stand down as MP. The UK's first black Conservative cabinet minister was Chancellor under Liz Truss, but 2 years later is leaving Parliament altogether. There are some of the stories making the rounds there in other parts of the world as well. Well, the story about King Charles is all over the place. But, while both Trump and Haley may claim victory in Nevada, Republicans are holding two separate ballots this week with candidates not going head to head. So, how is it going to pan out? And then Miss Japan steps down after tabloid exposes affair. The controversial Ukraine-born mother has resigned after a report on a relationship with a married man. And then country music legend Toby Keith has died aged 62. And Nigerian pastor arrested over $1 million fraud. Theo Ebonyi, accused of swindling his followers and others, dismisses news of his arrest as fake. Okay, so we will see more about that. And then moving on straight to some other stories. Senegal on the brink after election postponed. Well, some are saying they want the election to go on, bring it on. The president is saying no, due to some irregularities and some alleged corruption by electoral officials and some judges on the electoral board or the election board. I think that is a matter of postponing it, and that is brought the country to a brink. Now, what is that going to be for them? One of the stories making the rounds there as well. About 13 children die each day at a camp in Sudan for displaced people, and Namibians pay homage to late President Haji Geingob. And Burkina Faso becomes second African country to be included in the vaccine of our latest one from the what we call that malaria We'll be telling you more about that. And Spain says over 1,000 migrants reached its Canary Island in 3 days. That's quite a scary one. Senegal cuts internet access as lawmakers debate a bill. Well, do you think that Senegal should just go, or the president should just allow them to go for the elections, or as he's saying, no, let's call it a halt and let's check what is going on, or creating a state of emergency because of what is happening? Then what do you think? It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In other stories on the African continent as well, let's sacrifice the GRA boss, MPP communicator to party. Member of the New Patriotic Party communications team, George Opoku Amponsa, has called on the leadership of the New Patriotic Party to sack the commissioner of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Amishadai Owusu Amwa, sacrificing him. Okay, and how would that augur for the NPP as well? Dismissal of 24 DC is friction between MPs and DC is unnecessary. Doma is MP is saying, and MPP communicator slams Abenor said, over his defense of GRA boss. Why should the GRA boss go? Is it because of his age or underperformance? What do you think about all that? Saglemi case, my testimony to court is only limited to documents. That's what the state witness is saying. Cicela Dapas has stolen cash, court forced to adjourn case over lateness of lawyers. Okay, those are some of the stories making the rounds there as well. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. And the list of 4 ministers and 7 deputies who face sack in impending reshuffle, where the president is said to be planning to reshuffle his cabinet. What do you think about that? Gabi Onufori after sabotaging Baumia's presidential bid. How? Where? Why? Okay, that's more going to be coming your way. Is that how you're training your children? Park Chairman Schools NCA boss will telling you more. High Court clears Professor Dominic Forbes marriage despite opposition from his family, but we're going to be telling you more about that. The guy says, I want to get married. I'm old, but I'll get a young girl who will keep me on fire. And then people are upset. Well, it is him, right? Okay, but let me know what you think about all that. It's interesting, isn't it? Well, Starr Radio UK. Now let's come to Nigeria. Opposition parties responsible for protests against Tinubu's government. That's what the APC is saying. The federal government bans alcoholic beverages in small sachets, and the Tinubu Abiodun mourn as Jimmy Solanke dies at 81. EFCC arrests General Overseer over alleged 1.3 billion naira fraud and a kidnapping. We got our children released with 15 million naira. Energy drinks, tramadol, and fried rice. That's what parents are saying to go and give to those kidnappers. Now, so where did they get the tramadol from? The Senate wants customs to increase 5 trillion naira revenue target for 2024 and AFCON 2024. Nigeria concerned about safety of nationals in South Africa. AFDP to begin disbursement of 540 million subs funds and poverty unemployment behind banditry in Northwest. Those are some of the stories making the rounds. There's other stories as well. Now, police have arrested cops for extorting 29 million from Abuja businessman, and Nigeria ruling APC accusing opposition of inciting protests over cost of living. Of course, that is their core. I mean, they will tell people that look at what is happening. If you have voted us into power, that wouldn't have happened to you. So, well, it's part of the politics, isn't it? Okay, and the Fidelity Bank appoints Abolere as new executive director. And some breaking news coming through. Tantita intercept another crude oil vessel in Bayelsa. And EFCC naps Hadi Sirika's brother over 8 billion aviation contract fraud. Nigeria's interest in USDT highest in Africa amid high demand for the dollar. And again, Naira increases in value against US dollar in official market as CBN fights to keep the Naira afloat. Those are some of the stories making the rounds this morning. A lot more going to be coming your way during the course of the program. But for now, let's go enjoy some music. It is from Starr Radio UK, It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And what better song can I bring your way than, okay, just bear with me, than this from Kofi Bohan. Enjoy it and I'll be with you.
All right. This is a letter to the broken. Don't get discouraged. I see you fighting all the demons in your life that have wreaked heavy carnage. Don't be dismayed. I know you think that your dreams and everything that you hope for seem to delay. Looks like your problems don't seem to go nowhere. Just take a deep breath. People talk about you, it's got you feeling down and really stressed. Don't tell me you don't know the trouble that I've been going through. You self don't know, see the same thing they go through. Me self and they go through too. Who told you the lie? When you fall, it's the end of your life. I heard a whisper from above. I pray it opens up your eyes. Broken pencils still write, so keep on writing. And fallen soldiers still rise, so keep on fighting. One day you'll lift up your eyes to the skies and your light will be shining. One day you will win. One day you will win. Broken pencils still write, so keep on writing. And fallen soldiers still rise, so keep on fighting. One day you'll lift up your eyes to the skies and your light will be shining. One day you will win. Yeah. One day you will win. Now snap on it. News around this life is not fair. Greed is all we see. You gave your heart to the wrong folk, they broke it, and now you put it on free. Fake life on Instagram and Snapchat got you feeling ungrateful. My sister, if you could see the real them, you know you are being a great fool. You wrote a paper and failed. Sit down and write it again. One day you will kill him. He broke your heart and you cried. Give love another try. True love will heal him. I'm not trying to look down on your problems. No. I know say you don't know how you sabi solve them. Yeah. Allow me to introduce you to someone I know. He's a specialist in handling cases and issues we don't blow. If you fell, just rise. If you fell, just rise. If you fell, just rise. Wipe the tears from your eyes. If you fell, just rise. If you fell, just rise. Wipe the tears from your eyes. If you fell, just rise. Wipe the tears from your eyes. If you fell, just rise. Wipe the tears from your eyes. Broken pencils still rise. Keep on writing. Fallen soldiers still rise. Keep on fighting, yeah. One day you lift up your eyes to the skies and your light will be shining, yeah. One day wedding bells go ring. One day you win. One day you blow. Your wedding bells will ring. One day you win. The paper you pass it again. First class is waiting for you. International scholarship is coming. Yeah, scholarship, yes, it's coming. You come out of your own house. One day you shall go ride your own car. One day you win. One day you win. Your album go hit. Your ministry go blow. One day you win. Don't mind the haters, they don't know. Your enemies will see you on TV. Your haters will see you on Instagram. People will know that God has done it. The fixer of your life, He will fix it. Yeah, one day you win. One day you win. One day you win. This heaven, you will make up one day. One day you win. You will overcome this sin. You will break this addiction in your life. One day you will win. Your bank account will read 6 figures, 7 figures. Hey, one day you will win. Yeah, one day you will win. Don't give up, one day you will win.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Don't give up, one day.
This is Starr Radio UK.
One day you will win. Yeah, one day you will win. Yeah, one day you will win. One day you will win. Broken pencils. Broken pencils to rise. Keep on.
Well, one day you will win by Kofi Boham. I hope that you enjoyed that tune. It's one of my favorite tunes of late that I've fallen so much in love with. But wherever you are, stay tuned. Don't you go away. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Once we come back, we'll continue with the program. Stay tuned.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
You are listening to Starr Radio Morning Show.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's go to Nigeria for the stories that is making the rounds there, and then we come to other places. Well, it's making loads of rounds. Let me tell you, or tell me what you think about all the stories making the rounds this morning. But this is Starr Radio UK. This is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, so updates from Nigeria now. Let's hit the ground running. Now, the ruling All Progressive Congress has blamed opposition parties for the recent protests springing up in major cities across the country against the economic hardships plaguing Nigerians. The APC, in a statement on Monday by its National Publicity Secretary Felix Morka, said the opposition parties are sponsoring protests to discredit the government of President Bola Tinubu. Speaking minor Niger State and Kano State yesterday took to the streets. Residents of minor Niger State and Kano State took to the streets in protest against the rising cost of living and harsh economic situation in the country. However, APC in its reaction said opposition parties are the ones instigating the masses to undermine the government. Now, the ruling party statement reads, in his errant desperation to portray the All Progressive Congress led administration as underperforming, opposition parties have resorted to instigating unsuspecting young people to protest in the streets of some major cities. Now, if somebody is in Minna or in the Niger or Kano and decided to have gone to the shop to go and buy bread and can't get bread, or the price of bread that they were getting it at whatever price, let's say, let me put it this way, for lack of not knowing what the price, the prevailing price was before what is happening now, the then price, let's say 5 naira, and now goes and a loaf of bread is being sold for 20 naira. Do you think you need opposition to tell you that, look, things are tough, for you to know that things are tough? And especially when whatever you are earning is not going long enough to reach whatever expenses that you normally could have some way, somehow circumnavigate. Do you need opposition to tell you that? Somebody will say no. So, ruling incumbents normally will always point the accusing finger at opposition parties that you are instigating, that you are stoking the fire, you are, pushing the people out of desperation for them to behave that way. Well, the protests in Minna and Kano earlier today were the manifestation of this devious and unpatriotic plot that the protests happened simultaneously in both cities is not coincidental. It bears a bold stamp of an orchestrated and coordinated effort to instigate unrest and undermine the government. The mercenary opposition tactic is a clear and present threat to public peace and national security. You really mean that? Well, while we recognize the right of citizens to engage in a peaceful protest, we urge our good people to be vigilant and not lend themselves to the treacherous attempt by the opposition parties to promote social strife by its incendiary rhetoric and manipulative plots. In a quote, the President Bola Tinubu led administration is solidly committed to doing everything in its power to mitigate the transient pains of critically important reforms that are crucial to economic recovery and sustainable prosperity for all Nigerians. It behoves us as good citizens of our beloved country to stand fast with our government in this noble strive. In due time, these policy reforms will yield enduring beneficial transformation of the material conditions of life in the country. We implore Nigerians to shun the guile and unpatriotic attempt by opposition elements to destabilize the country for their own parochial political gains. Oladipo Abiola said that. Now, the question is, do you need an opposition party to tell you that, look, you can't pay your bills? Or you are the one who goes to the market and you know exactly that whatever you have in your pocket or in your hands is not going far, it's not reaching far enough as it will normally be. So do you blame opposition parties? Or is it a government policy that is putting across is actually biting? And when such policies are put across, I tell you that the haves don't suffer the consequences or the pain that the have-nots do suffer. At least you, the house, have a way and means to be able to go about things. Though things are tightening, but you can't say that you don't have your 3 square meals a day. However, there are people who are so desperate. So desperate. And if these people rise up, do you tell them that, well, it is opposition who is causing them to do so? Well, when you talk about the coordination, the fact that they all hit the ground at the same time, somebody say, well, maybe they planned it very well to have an impact. And this year, on these days where we have all the social media platforms where people are able to communicate, they are able to communicate. Of course. That is the work of the opposition. They will tell you that they'll be stoking the fire and they'll be pointing finger at your wrongdoings there. So you can also outwit them by doing good things so that the public will know that it's not that you are there just, getting an extension for your belts and then on getting your loins so that you can load more before you tied it. But we look at the one-time what do we call that? Corruption and monies that have been siphoned one way or the other. But this current administration, the APC party, not necessarily this current administration. I know this current administration have got a couple of issues that is going on. One with this minister who was sacked a couple of weeks ago and was also arrested by the EFCC or taken to the EFCC to defend how they managed to divert some money into their own personal account, state funds to some of their own personal account. So look at all those things and they think, well, some people are milking it. Others are so desperate. So what do they do? Now, let me tell you what someone has said there pertaining to this. Governor Obasani of Kaduna State has identified poverty and unemployment as responsible for the security challenges bedeviling the northwest region of the country. Now, he said that the best way to tackle the challenges was through good governance. The governor made observation in Kaduna on Monday while receiving a member of the Kaduna State Elders Forum who paid him a congratulatory visit over his victory at the Supreme Court. Now, he stated that as the Kaduna State government intensified military actions against banditry and kidnapping with the support of the defense headquarters, his government was also adopting good governance as the best known kinetic solutions to security challenges. Nasani lamented that the alarming rate out of school children, stressing that it must be addressed to ensure a secure state and region. According to the governor, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army, and Chief of Air Staff have assured us of their support to our security efforts. They have decided to set up 2 forward operation bases in Kaduna, one in southern Kaduna, Zangon Kataf, to be precise, and the other one in Benin Gwari to serve Benin Gwari down to Jiwa. The FOBs will be set up in the next 3 weeks. He explained that it was one of the most important interventions by the defense headquarters. He said he would be signing the bill for establishment of the Security Trust Fund in 2024. He's going to be signing into law. Now, the question is, if this is what is happening, unemployment and economic challenges that people are facing is what is stoking the fire of insecurity in that part of the world. How do you address it? Is it by bringing soldiers to be chasing those people, arresting those people? Now, desperate situations calls for desperate measures, and that is desperation is making people behave that way. Now, they think that people will be there when they can have a job to go to. Though they might not be getting everything that they need, at least they know that they are surviving and they will be content with it. I know there are some people who are not content with whatever they have. Yes, that is there. We believe that. Okay? They have lots, yet they want to take others. Okay? So that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm of the view that, look, if people are desperate, they know they can see you, this big man, or this is driving in your Porsche SUV, going about dressed in your agbada and everything, and they look at you quietly and they ask themselves, what did we do wrong? Is it because we also didn't enter into politics? Somebody said that's your hard-earned money, wealth or whatever. Fine. I don't disagree with that. But the issue is that if we don't put the horse in front of the cart, but rather put the cart in front of the horse, we're going to be having a problem. It's just a matter of time, because this is a ticking time bomb that Nigeria, or the Kaduna state, and Nigeria as a whole seem to be sitting on. But when people speak about it, then the opposition will say, well, no, the ruling government says that, well, it's opposition that is stoking fire. But there are desperate things that are going on. How is the government able to actually resolve such issues that is going on? Listeners, Starr Radio UK, 11:27 the time, the morning show, the program. Updates from Nigeria. What do you think about what is happening in Nigeria? It's quite an interesting one. There. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has banned alcoholic beverages packed in sachets that are smaller than 200 ml. The agency said the 5-year window given to the manufacturers of the products to stop producing them in sachet and PET bottles, which began in 2020, will begin in 2028, elapse. Is it 2023 or what? Because there's a typo there. Elapsed on January 31 this year. So if it's 5 years on, that is we are in 2024. That is 2019 or 2018 thereabout. NAFDAC Director General Professor Mojisola Adeyeye announced the ban while addressing reporters yesterday in Abuja. The NAFDAC board said the enforcement of the ban took effect on February 1. She said the ban was not a sudden development but the outcome of a multilateral commitment which agreed that the ban will be in phases, whereby production will be reduced by 50% by 2020, while outright ban will take place on January 31 this year. Now, given the decision, Adeyeye said NAFDAC did not issue renewal licenses exceeding last month to any manufacturer of the product. According to her, the agency took the route of wiping out the drinks in such sachet because of the negative effects on underage children. Now, so if you have a shop, an underage child comes in to go and buy. Now, unless they're saying that they steal them. But in this part of the world, where cigarette, we're doing our best to ban cigarette smoking, bring it to the barest minimum. Now, if you're a child, is under 16 or under 18, you are not allowed that. You can't buy it. If you want to prove that you are above age, then you have to show an identity to prove that you are above that age. Okay? But I don't know what happens in Nigeria. I want to know. Can you share that with me, please? Well, it's quite an interesting one. Said children easily fall for the package and face the consequences. She said this decision was based on a recommendation of a high-powered committee of the Federal Ministry of Health and NAFDAC on one hand. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission and industry represented by the Association of Food, Beverages and Tobacco Employers, the Sellers and Blenders Association of Nigeria in December 2018, on the other hand. As commitment to the decision reached at the end of this committee's meeting, producers of the alcohol in sachet and small volume agreed to reduce the production by 5% with effect from January 31, 2022, while ensuring the product is completely phased out in the country by January 31, 2024. According to her, the future of the country supersedes other considerations in the enforcement of the policy. So how many Nigerian children have been drinking these alcoholic beverages? Now, the question too is, now, if somebody is an adult, but they can't, with their cost of living high and everything, they will want to, maybe after their day, I don't drink, so after they gone about their duties, they want to maybe have something to cool themselves down. Okay, so maybe a sachet, let's say that sachet costs 5 naira. They can afford that. Maybe earlier on they could afford a bottle. Now they can't afford that, but they can afford a sachet. Are you stopping them from having that enjoyment at all? You catch it? Or we're looking at the interest of children as a whole. But what percentage of children are being found drunk? What percentage of children? And do you think that they cannot get bottled alcoholic beverages to drink? Well, if you say, oh, sachet ones are easy to, what about if they get a bottled one and put them in their bags? Because there are smaller bottled ones as well. What about that? Unless those ones are not on the market in Nigeria. But listeners, it's Starr Radio UK. What an interesting development from Nigeria when it comes to this as well. But wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. Well, a family in Ekiti of abducted peoples and teachers of the Apostolic Faith Group of schools in Mure Ekiti have said that they gave tramadol. The question is, where did they get that tramadol, that amount of tramadol from? 15 million naira and fried rice as ransom to secure the release of hostages. Now, a news network recalls that the gunmen had last Monday ambushed the school bus conveying the peoples and staff to Eporo Ekiti and whisked away 5 peoples and 4 members of staff, including the driver, to the forests. The kidnappers later reached out to the families of the victims and demanded a ransom of 100 million for their release. But after much pleading, they reduced their demand to 15 million naira on Thursday. The relatives of the victims said the hostages were released in a forest between Owo and Oba Akoko in Ondo State at about 1:30 a.m. Sunday. One of the parents of the victims, who craved anonymity, revealed that members of the community and their indigents, both at home and abroad, contributed to the ransom. He said that the kidnappers asked the family to bring the ransom along with other items such as fried rice, drinks, tramadol to the forest to secure the release of the 8 victims. The family source disclosed that the driver was killed by the kidnappers after he was said to have reneged on dropping the telephone numbers of his relatives to call for ransom. According to one of the parents, we have to thank God for the safe return of our children and wives from the forest after they were kidnapped on Monday. The kidnappers insisted on collecting 15 million on Saturday, and we rallied the communities, including our people outside the country, to raise the ransom. They even collected a carton of tin milk, black bullet, fried rice with chicken. This is a proper what? Oh my goodness. Soft and energy drink and tramadol from us. We were asked to take the money and the items to a bush in Ondo State, farmstead called Ago Panu, at about 7 p.m. It is between Oba Akoko and Owo. Before they could release them, they confirmed the money and those items. We walked through the bush till around 1 a.m. when we saw the victim. On why the driver was killed by the gunmen, the family said the children told us that when the kidnappers were asking of the telephone number of relatives to call from each of them in the forest, the driver told them he didn't know that of his wife and the school proprietor of her. Now this made them angry and they hit him with their gun. For 5 days he was said to be having issues after the injury he sustained and was shot dead on Saturday morning. The most painful was that his corpse was burned in the bush, according to what the people told the press. It was a bitter experience for the victims, especially looking at how the driver was killed. We appreciate the efforts of the state government and the security agencies. Recounting how they retrieved the victims in the bush, a parent who spoke at the premises of the hospital said the kidnappers were calling persistently that we should hurry up. They said we should meet them at Ikare Junction. I wondered how come Ikare Junction when they kidnapped the children at Eboro. When we got to Ikare Junction, he said we should buy food. So we went to buy rice and meat. When we were about to get to Waterworks, he told us we should turn back. Then the kidnappers described a road that only big vehicles could pass. We decided that all of us should not go there so that they will not think that we came with policemen, and that could make them injure the abductees with them. When we told them we were on the path, he said only 2 persons should come. He threatened to waste the kidnapped persons if more than 2 persons came. Now only 2 continued while the rest of us sat on the road there. The driver of the vehicle, 1 person, continued far into the forest and drove back. So they now used a motorcycle to trace the kidnappers to drop the money and the food. On collecting the money and food, he released the kidnapped persons. They used a motorcycle to bring the kidnapped persons to the road. That was when they called us to bring the vehicle to convey them. The kidnappers collected 15 million. We, parents and families, contributed 4 million naira. People came to our aid by contributing the rest. Even in the market, they contributed so that we would be rescued. Meanwhile, the Ekiti State Police Command, through a statement by its spokesman, Butu Sunday, claimed the victims were rescued by a combined team of the police and other security agencies, including the Ametukon Corps, local vigilantes, and hunters, with the support of state and federal government. Sunday said, while we sympathize with the family members of the driver who was suspected to have been killed by the abductors while held hostage, the command vows to continue with the operation and investigation until the perpetrators are arrested and made to face the full wrath of the law. Will they? Are they? And when? Quite an interesting one, right? Listeners, this is Star Radio UK. This is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. One other story, and then we'll bring the updates from Nigeria to a close. And this one round from the football tournament that is taking place at AFCON 2024. Nigeria concerned about safety of nationals in South Africa. The Nigerian government has expressed concerns over the safety of its nationals in South Africa. The attention of Nigeria High Commission in Pretoria has been drawn to potentially inflammatory online comments made by a section of South African citizens against Nigerians living in the host country. A statement from the High Commission read. It's quite interesting. It said the threats are largely influenced by 2024 African Cup of Nations semi-finals match between Nigeria Super Eagles and South Africa's Bafana scheduled to hold tomorrow. Now, most of the comments consist of veiled threats against Nigeria cooking jollof rice before the match and showing pepper to Nigerians if the Bafana lose to the Super Eagles. The High Commissioner said, this is just football. It's just a game. Why do we go to such extent of causing harm to our neighbors because maybe we might lose against them? Listeners, this is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 20 minutes to 12 the time. Star Radio UK, the station, the morning show, the program. And we will be going to the other parts of Africa to look at some of the stories making the rounds. Don't touch the dial. Let's take this quick commercial break and I'll be exfoliating, farming, and lifting. Then contact JN Spa on 00233244941 002 or 00233200606 and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Welcome back to the program, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm bringing the time now to exactly 19 minutes to the top of the hour. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. And this afternoon, exactly at 1:30, BB Clement will be coming your way with BB Means Business. Yes, this program comes your way every Tuesday from 1:30 and on Thursdays from 7 p.m. as well. I repeat, from 6 to 7 p.m. So make a date with BB Clement. It's a program that is tailor-measured to help you in your ways. But wherever you are, contact the dial. Starr Radio UK. Now, in other stories making the rounds on the African continent as well. About 13 children die each day at a camp in Sudan for displaced people. How? Why? 13 children are dying each day of severe malnutrition at the Zamzam camp in Sudan's northern Darfur as a consequence for the 10-month war in their country, a medical charity said on Monday. The head of the UN Refugee Agency, meanwhile, warned that Europe may have to deal with a rise in the number of Sudanese refugees if a ceasefire agreement isn't signed soon between Sudan's warring sides and relief efforts aren't strengthened. The one child is dying every 2 hours in the camp, according to Claire Nicolet, head of emergency response in Sudan for Doctors Without Borders of MSF. Now, those with severe malnutrition who have not yet died are at risk of dying within 3 to 6 weeks if they do not get treatment, Nicolette said. Now, MSF says the Zamzam camp of more than 300,000 people was originally formed by people fleeing ethnically targeted violence in the region in 2003. However, since war broke out between Sudan's military and paramilitary forces in April 2023, camp residents have been cut off from vital humanitarian aid and medical care, the group said in a statement. So what will restore or bring about the peace that this part of the world actually need? What will bring about that peace? It is worrying, isn't it? Well, you look at all that story and you ask yourself the question, what exactly seems to be going on there? What do they want? Why are they behaving that way? My listeners, what an interesting one. So coming your way from Starr Radio UK, and stories making the rounds on the African continent. Now, what is the AU doing about that? Have they actually shown or flexed their muscles so that people will sit up? Okay. Yesterday we did announce the death of the Namibian president who succumbed to the fight of a cancer. Okay. Now, Namibia held a candlelight vigil in the capital Windhoek on Monday evening to pay homage to their late president Haji Geingob. Now, the much respected leader who was receiving treatment for cancer passed away on Sunday at the age of 82. One resident, Sydney Boy, said he wept when he heard the news, adding that was the kind of relationship people had with Geingob. It was a personal relationship, but life is about the relationship, and he related to people and he could connect with us as a nation, as people of this country, he said. He goes further to say Geingob played a central role in what has become one of Africa's most stable democracies after returning from a long exile in Botswana and the United States as an anti-apartheid activist. Now, tributes continue to pour in from around the world for the late president, who was a soft-spoken man but firm on advancing Africa's agenda as an important stakeholder in world affairs. Now, Geingob maintained close relationship with the United States and West African countries, but Western countries, my apologies, but like many African leaders, also forged a warm relationship with China and other powers. He could be spoken He could be outspoken on issues at home and abroad. In January, he criticized former colonial master Germany for supporting Israel after South Africa filed a case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, accusing it of genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. Germany cannot morally express commitment to the United Nations Convention Against Genocide, including atonement for the genocide in Namibia, while supporting the equivalent of Holocaust and genocide in Gaza, he said. He was referring to events between 1904 and 1908 when colonial security forces killed tens of thousands of people in Namibia while putting down an uprising. In 2021, Germany acknowledged that its actions amounted to genocide and pledged more than $1 billion for infrastructure projects in the country. But well, have they received that money yet? Somebody will say no. What is happening there? Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Still on the African front. Senegal's National Assembly faced turmoil on Monday as riot police deployed tear gas to disperse protesters angered by the postponement of the February 25 presidential election. The unprecedented move to reschedule the election to August 25 and extend President Macky Sall's mandate prompted unrest and criticism. Now, lawmakers are set to debate the bill proposing the election delay, marking the departure from Senegal's history of election stability. The African Union, along with regional blocs and Western government, called for a swift announcement of a new election date. Riot police outside the parliament used tear gas and made arrests to quell around 100 protesters. Now, widespread public outcry over the postponement has raised concerns that the country will face violent protests like those that have intermittently broken out over concerns Sall would run for a third term and the alleged political sidelining of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko. Sall said he delayed the election due to a dispute over the candidate list and alleged corruption within the constitutional body that handled the list. Now, several prominent opposition figures, including Sonko, were barred from running for president, stoking discontent about their election process. However, there has been strong pushbacks against the delay, which some opposition and civil society groups have called an institutional coup. Now, some contenders have said they will still push ahead with campaign meant to kick off over the weekend. Others have vowed to challenge the postponement in court. At least two female presidential candidates were detained when police in riot gear broke up protests in the capital Dakar on Sunday, firing tear gas and rounding up participants. The authorities also took local television channel WAF off air on Sunday and revoked its license, WAF said in a statement. Well, maybe they are the ones who were campaigning or championing that cause, but they decided to take them down. Power. All right then. Starr Radio UK. So what is the way forward? Now the president says, look, I foresee that this could happen. Therefore, put things in place and say, let's postpone the election to another date. And he said, because of what? 6 months that the president will still be in power. So that means what? Or some people they think that, well, we have the momentum, and therefore, if we don't strike now, as we say, you strike the iron whilst it's hot. If they don't strike now, it will be difficult for them, the ones who are pushing this agenda. But Senegal's parliament voted on Monday to delay the West African nation's presidential election until December 15. In a chaotic voting process that took place after opposition lawmakers were forcefully removed from the chambers as they debated President Macky Sall's earlier decision to delay election. The security forces stormed the legislative building and forcefully removed several opposition lawmakers who were trying to block the voting process on the unprecedented delay of the presidential election initially scheduled for February 25. The adopted bill extends Sall's tenure, which was due to end on April 2, until new election. Authorities on Monday restricted mobile internet access amid growing protests by opposition supporters against the delay. As the lawmakers debate the bill, security forces fired tear gas at protesters gathered outside the legislative building. Many of the protesters were arrested as they poured into the streets of the capital, Dakar, burning tires and criticizing the country's leader. Now, on Monday, two opposition parties filed a court petition challenging the election delay. It was not clear what would become of their request for Senegal's Constitutional Council to direct the continuation of the electoral process. Analysts say the crisis in Senegal is putting one of Africa's most stable democracies to the test at a time when the region is struggling with a recent surge in coup. Now, Starr, who in July said he will not seek a third term in office, had cited an electoral dispute between the parliament and the judiciary regarding candidacies as reasons for postponement, but opposition leaders and candidates rejected the move, calling it a coup. Is it? Isn't it? What do you think about that? What is the next move? What can Senegalese do when it comes to this? This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, one final story from the African front. We take a musical break and we come back and I'll be bringing you everything that you need to know about Ghana as well. On February 5, Burkina Faso became the second country in the African region to integrate the malaria vaccine into its routine immunization schedule. Now, the country has officially introduced the RTS malaria vaccine into its expanded vaccination program across 27 health districts. The World Health Organization endorsed the vaccine 2 years ago, acknowledging that even though it is imperfect, its use will still dramatically reduce severe infections and hospitalization. So far, no malaria vaccine stops transmission, so other tools like bed nets and insecticidal spraying will still be critical. The malaria parasite mostly spread to people via infected mosquitoes and can cause symptoms including fever, headaches, and chills. Burkina Faso is one of the worst hit places in the world. In 2021, almost 12.5 million cases of disease were recorded across the country, equating to an incidence rate of 569 cases per 1,000. Wow! Officially, 4,355 people were reported to have died of the parasitic infection, although World Health Organization estimates that the actual death toll that year stands at about 18,876. Cameroon started the world's first malaria vaccine program for children on January 22. Now, will other African nations emulate them as well? Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, let's move on to, my apologies there, other stories making the rounds in Ghana as well. While in Ghana, VAT on electricity, organized labor notifies pleas on planned demo. And then another story, arrest Northern Regional NCA director over misappropriation of 160,000 Ghana cedis. And then in other stories as well, dismissal of 24 DCs. Friction between MPs and DCs unnecessary. Doma is MP is saying. And let's sacrifice the GRA boss, MPP communicator, to the party. Well, they think that they have to use him as a sacrificial lamb. But what do you think? And then finally, Manshia unveils returned looted Asante Royal regalia to Ghana on Thursday, February 8th. Well, we're going to be telling you more about all this as we bring you what you got to know when it comes to the news making the rounds in Ghana as well. Organized Labour has notified the Ghana Police Service of their planned nationwide demonstration against a 15% VAT on domestic electricity consumption. Organized labor has earlier served the government notice that they will resist implementation of VAT on electricity consumers in the country. This follows the communication directed to both the Electricity Company of Ghana and the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, Minister for Finance Kanu Fariata, on VAT on electricity. The minister outlined that the valued added tax will be applicable to residential electricity customers exceeding the designated maximum consumption level specified for block charges associated with lifeline units. In a bid to walk the talk, organized labor has officially written to the place to demonstrate in all the 16 regions. This letter serves as the official notification of our decision to embark on a demonstration in all the 16 regional capitals of Ghana on Tuesday, the 13th February 2024. The General Secretary of the Trade Unions Congress, Mr. Yao Ba, stated in the letter addressed to the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu Dampari. Now, as whether they are going to allow that to go on is another question. Are we all here and we all will see, right? Well, say there is a benchmark, and if you go beyond it, then you have to pay it. Okay. Now, interestingly, another story that I broke. Let me bring that your way, and then we go on. Now, epidemiologist and associate professor at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Kofi Amega, says the current sharp form of the emission levy being implemented by the government is wrongly done. This comes on the back of the Ghana Revenue Authority announcing the Emissions Levy Act 2023 Act 1112, which comes into effect February 1, 2024. According to the GRA, the act imposes a levy on carbon dioxide equivalent emission on internal combustion engine vehicles. The GRA further explained that the moves form part of the government efforts aimed at dealing with greenhouse gas emissions to encourage the use of green energy and eco-friendly technology to enhance environmental management and reduce overall pollution level in the air and water. The lecturer stated that those who should pay the emission levy are persons driving rickety vehicles. I think it was introduced to address carbon emission, but I must also indicate that air pollution and climate change are two sides of the same coin. I want to be educated, or I need to know whether the emission levy is really targeted at addressing carbon emission or even including air quality, or it is just another revenue stream. Because in other parts of the world, these emission levies are not implemented in this manner. In fact, it is a punitive measure to get people to abandon their old rickety vehicles and go and buy brand new vehicles which are less emission, for Professor Amega stated. Now he continued, this is not what we are seeing with the implementation of the emission levy. It's just all of us being boxed in together. You are fortunate to be driving a 2022 vehicle. Somebody is driving a 2000 rickety vehicle. Why are we all paying emission taxes? Now the question is, how affordable are vehicles in that part of the world? You see, at times we copy blindly. Now, in this part of the world, when the mayor was trying to introduce this ULEZ levy and everything that was going on, now the government brought in the scrappage scheme, or the mayor introduced the scrappage scheme, where those with those rickety cars could go there, and even those here are not rickety because they pass their MOT and stuff like that. But because of their ages, they thought that, well, they are the more pollutants. They are pollutants more than other newer vehicles. Okay? Now, so if you go to say, oh, go park your car, or we're going to charge you more levy, what support, safety network are we putting in there? Because there are people who have to use those rickety cars to earn their means, to support their families. Now, have they talk things through, or we just, because UK is doing it, that one is doing it, and we go and pen our signatures and start deals, and we just get on with it? Are we at a place where we can afford to say all vehicles in the country should be, call it, up to maybe 2010 or thereabout? Can people afford that? How easily accessible or cheap are the prices of spare parts of various vehicles in the country? Do they seek to address that? Or it's just we just do that so that those well-to-do people can just be going on? And that is what that inequality, where we don't think about the poor in society, that is what bring about unrest. And they will say, well, it's opposition who has instigated people to behave that way. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. 2 minutes past 12 the time. Starr Radio UK, the station, the morning show, the program. I remain yours sincerely, Archie. I promise you, especially my Nigerian listener, I'm going to bring you some lovely tune there. So don't touch the dial. Well, a couple of stories more, then we can bring that part of the program to a close. Now, member of the New Patriotic Party communication team, George Opoku Amponsa, has called on the leadership of the New Patriotic Party to sack the Commissioner of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Amishodai Owusu Amwa General. According to him, why should the Commissioner General, who happened to be a Reverend Minister, stay in office after retirement without a contract? If the government needs your expertise due to your experience and knowledge, there is nothing wrong for the government to arrange a contract before you to guarantee your stay in the office, he said. In an interview on a radio station called Joe Mavo, he questioned whether the Commissioner General is receiving a salary. If he is receiving a salary, who is paying the salary and on what basis is he being paid, knowing that by law, Mr. Amishodai is a retired public servant? Now, Bonsa noted that he cannot put his integrity on the line to defend such acts by party faithfuls at the expense of the nation. He also advised Ghanaians to put their nation first, not the party, and cautioned party faithful to stop calling them for not defending such corrupt acts. The Commissioner of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Dr. Amishodai Owusu Amwa, publicly acknowledged on Monday, January 29, during the Public Accounts Committee sitting, that he has surpassed the mandatory retirement age of 60 years and has been working without a contract for the past 2 years, entering his third post-retirement year without a formal agreement. So on what basis is he working? And again, what happened to Domelevo, who was the Auditor General, who was alleged to have also gone by his retirement age, yet was fired? So what makes these two people different from each other? They were all working for the state, right? They were all civil servants doing their bit, right? One was just fired. The other has been kept on for how many years? Almost 3. It's in its 3rd year now. How fair is that? So you see, politics. And then when the common person sit down, look at all this injustice that goes on. Let me put it that way for lack of words or better words. Then we call them what? Well, listen, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. At 5 minutes past the top of the hour, the morning show, and I am bringing you everything that you need to know. So wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. Let me bring you one interesting story from Ghana, and then we can leave. The High Court at Cape Coast has instructed former Education Minister Professor Dominic Fobi, who served under the Kufuor government, to pardon his son and nephew for their opposition to his marriage to a 30-year-old woman. Interesting, isn't it? Now, in recent rulings reported by DennisLaw.com, the court declared that there was no valid grounds for the objection raised against the 80-year-old professor's union with Mary Nyamiche Udro, whom he loves. The case drew significant public attention and controversy in May 2023 when a video of the former minister's traditional wedding went viral. The objectors argued that Professor Fobi's decision to marry Mary was irrational, citing his recovery from a stroke and a significant age gap of about 50 years between him and his bride, which they believed would lead to marital discord as seen in his previous marriages. Furthermore, they cast doubt on Mary's intentions, accusing her of infidelity and expressing concern that she might manipulate Professor Fobi into leaving his property to her and even harm him. Now, additionally, the court addressed claims regarding a prior engagement with one Beatrice Boateng, confirming that the marriage had been dissolved and dismissing the objectives argument as unsubstantiated. Ultimately, the court ruled in favor of Professor Fobi and Mary Nyamiche's, dismissing the objection as lacking merit. The court urged Professor Fobi to forgive his son, Dr. Nick Fobi, and nephew, Nicholas Fobi, and impose financial penalties of $20,000 and $20,000 each on the objectors. Now, if you are the son or nephew of this Professor Fobi, what will you do? The man has seen a woman. He said, whoa, this is a woman after my own heart. And he says, well, I'm 80 years, 50 years older than this girl, this lady, let me put it that way. Yet, that's the one that I love and I'm going to be with. As to whether the intention of the woman is right or not, you and I were not there. As to whether he's able to satisfy her in bed, let me put it that way, you and I might not know. Who knows? All sorts go on, right? Right. Okay. Well, they took the case to court and the court has ruled against them. So, well, he can get on with his marriage. So when he dies, what happens? Oh boy. Well. Listeners, Starr Radio UK. Back in the Bible, the good book, I say, when David was that old and he was frail, and I mean, people thought that, well, he's an action man, you know. I mean, action. Yeah. And then they thought the king, he needs somebody to vamp him up. So they brought a very young lady, but the king could not. He could not perform nothing. And then the king died in that quest. So, well, this man can perform. So what is your worry about it? It's quite interesting, isn't it? 9 minutes past 12 the time. Starr Radio UK, the station, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's take a break, and I will be with you wherever you are. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and don't touch the dial. Starr.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 11 minutes past 4. We've got about another 19 minutes to bring the program to a close. You have a take, feel free to share it with us. You have a comment, put it across. I'm going to read them out as well. Whatever it is, feel free. Let us hear from you. My apologies there. A bit of burping going on. Wow. Okay. Now, let's move on to other parts of the world as well. Maybe you have a take on this issue. This man and the lovely wife. Hey, Charlie, don't try it. Okay, one other story that my producer says that I need to touch on. The looted Ashanti golden royal regalia and other precious ornaments by the British under the reign of the late Queen Elizabeth are returning in batches to their original palace after 150 years in anticipation to boost Ashanti history and tourism. The first batch of the artifacts arrived in Mansha Palace over the weekend, followed by the second batch on Monday, 5th of February, under tight security escort from the Kumasi airport straight to the palace and directly handed over to the Asante-Hene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II in the afternoon. Nikwate Owo is a Ghanaian international filmmaker who had the rare opportunity of seeing looted artifacts from different African countries by the British. He said he didn't believe that he saw when he entered the basement of the British Museum some 50 years ago. Now, among the treasures he saw were those stolen from the Asante-Hene's palace when the British demolished the royal palace with explosives and stole the ornaments during the 1874 Sagarenti War. It was like time travel when I left the office of the curate and went down into the basement 50 feet under the ground when we landed in the aroma of our ancestors. I mean, I'm talking about all these artifacts that have been hidden. You know, there is an aroma that came to overwhelm me. I could smell. It was almost like they were saying, "You are welcome to our great-great-grandson. You are welcome, our great-great-grandson." Spiritually, I felt the scent of our ancestors, he explained. That is something that he is saying. I cannot attest to that because I've not seen that. 1.5 centuries later, the stolen treasures from the palace are returning to their original place after an agreement between the Mansha Palace and the UK government. Now, Nana Professor Hineba Boacheje Wahene II Otumfuo Hiahene confirmed to Kasapa News that the first batch of the 7 treasures from the Fowler Museum has arrived. The Fowler Museum in California has delivered 7 precious gold items to Mansha Palace, which will be on display on Thursday, 8 February 2024 at the Derbar of Chiefs in Ashanti Palace, where the Asante-Hene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II will sit in state. Those things that were taken away from our grandfathers many years ago have now found their way home, he disclosed. The remaining 32 ornaments from the British Museum are expected to arrive in April 2024. The mere thought of returning the treasures to its roots, cites Nikwate, it is a step in the right direction. I mean, who could imagine after 150 years these looted precious ornaments will return to their original home, he asked. However, the big question demanding answers from resident historian Mansha Palace Safo Kantaka is how substantial are these artifacts to the Ashanti Kingdom. Now that the items have returned to its original people, are going to follow up by coming to the museum to observe what have been returned to know all the interesting stories from the time it was looted away and its return. Note, this is of economic importance to Ghana and for the matter Asante Man because it will boost tourism, he said. Now, how is the tourism in that particular region like? And Are they compensating? Are they giving some money for that? And if they had not taken it, I mean, though they took it unlawfully, would we have been able to have kept it, or wouldn't somebody would have sold them away? You get it? As we normally will to our people. Well, Starr Radio UK. Now, Spanish farmers have joined a wave of protests. Across Spain, farmers have been protesting at EU regulation and demanding more help from their government. A baby killed in Russian strike on Ukrainian hotel. And 100 missing as deadly Chile fires rages on. Well, and if you have one of these, Tesla owners have been told not to drive with Apple headsets. I don't know how they see in that, because I don't own a Tesla. Now, Tesla owners have been reminded to keep their eyes on the road after videos of drivers wearing Apple virtual reality headset have gone viral. U.S. Secretary for Transport Peter Buttigieg posted on Twitter to say that all current vehicles require the driver to be engaged at all times. However, one driver admitted his video was a prank. Now, Tesla and Apple have been contacted for comment. Now, videos posted online shows people in the driver's seat of cars which have an autonomous mode while wearing the Apple headset over their eyes. One was reposted by Peter Buttigieg, who wrote, "Reminder, all advanced driver assistance system available today require the human driver to be in control and fully engaged in the driving task at all times." Okay, another video posted on the day the Apple Vision Pro became publicly available showed a man appearing to get pulled over by the police while wearing the headset in a Tesla. Interesting, isn't it? Philly Gadochi, even that one self, my friend will say, with a fear. Talk less, one that we are wearing something that we're not very sure whether that thing is seen properly or just giving us some. If you watch lots of movie or documentary, you think that what is all that about? Well, Starr Radio, okay, let's move on straight. Now, it says that a 2-month-old boy was killed and his mother wounded when a Russian missile hit a hotel in northeastern Ukraine. Officials have said the baby's body was pulled out of the rubble of the 3-story building in the village of Zolokiv, said Kharkiv Regional Governor Ole Senobor. Now, 2 other women were hurt when Russia fired 2 S-300 missiles, he said, hitting the hotel and nearby buildings. Attacks on the Kharkiv region has intensified since the end of 2023. Zolokiv is only 20 kilometers or 12 miles from Russian border and too close for Ukraine's air defense to offer sufficient cover. Listeners, Starr Radio UK, some world stories. We'll be bringing the program to a close pretty soon. Well, the Chile wildfire ravages on. Hundreds of people are missing as wildfire continues to raze homes in Chile's Valparaiso region. More than 120 people have been killed in the fires, which have burned down thousands of homes. The President Gabriel Boric said the blaze was the worst catastrophe to hit the country since the earthquake of 27 February 2010, in which more than 500 people died. The smoke from the fires could be seen from space. Satellite images have shown, and I have one before me, and looking at it, it's like, The fire broke out last week amid an unusual heat wave that had drawn tourists to the seaside towns of Vina del Mar and Valparaiso, which are normally cooled by sea breezes. But both cities, as well as the town of Guadalupe to the east, have been wrapped in acrid smoke from the forest fires burning in the nearby hill. The fires were fanned by strong winds, and residents describe how within minutes their hillside communities were engulfed in flames. Drone footage showed the extent of the damage, and it is devastating. In a nutshell, That is what I can say there. Listeners, it is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. A Nigerian pastor has been arrested over allegation he fraudulently got people to part with their money. Theo Iboyi, well known in Benue State, is accused of swindling his followers and others out of more than 1.3 billion naira, which is equivalent to $930,000 or 740,000 pounds. He was detained and freed on bail last year, but this has only just been made public. The Anti-Corruption Authority spokesperson is quoted as saying, Mr. Moyi said the news was fake information spread by bloggers. He did not comment on the allegation against him. So he says, this is fake news. Our listeners, it is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. To the final segment of the program. King Charles has spent the night at home after beginning outpatient cancer treatment. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said he is in regular contact with the king and is thankful the illness was caught early. On Monday, Buckingham Palace announced the cancer was found during the king's recent treatment for a benign and large prostate. The palace has not said what type of cancer the king has been diagnosed with. That's the big question, because we know that the king went in for an enlarged prostate. We were thinking that if anything, it's going to be a prostate cancer. However, he said it is not, emphatically, it is not prostate cancer. What other cancer is that? Is it scary? Is that why they made it public? The monarch has postponed public duties but will undertake state duties and continue to meet the Prime Minister weekly. Prince Harry is traveling to the UK from California to see his father. Of course, even if it was you and I, we would have done same, wouldn't we? Well, in other stories making the rounds as well, the Prime Minister said that as millions get a final cost of living payment, Rishi Sunak says the burden of household is subsiding. Do you feel it in your pocket? Do you feel it in your bones? Well. And the critical thing is to stand down as MP. The UK's first black Conservative cabinet minister was Chancellor under Liz Truss, but 2 years later is leaving Parliament altogether. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. My final story. A 22-year-old man has been arrested and bailed on suspicion of assisting the alleged Kapam alkali attacker. Now, Abdul Shokor Zedi has been on the run since a woman and her two young girls were hurt in South London on Wednesday. The Metropolitan Police said a man was detained on suspicion of helping Zedi following a raid early on Monday. They added that there had been a new sighting of Zedi in the Southwark Bridge area on Wednesday night. The 31-year-old woman injured on Wednesday remains sedated in hospital and could lose the sight in right eye, police told reporters, adding that her injuries will impact her for the rest of her life. Officers are trying to establish how long Ezedi and the woman have known each other and what sort of relationship they had. Police also confirmed that Ezedi is not the father of the woman's children who were hurt in the attack. Police have said the children's injuries are not as serious as first thought. We thank God for that. 5 Met officers were also injured as they responded to the attack, as were 4 members of the public who tried to help. The Met Police Commander John Savelle said 22-year-old man was arrested for assisting an offender at 00:45 hours on Monday at an undisclosed location. The suspect was taken to a police station in South London where he was interviewed before being released on bail. Our message here is clear. If you're harboring Ezedi, we'll find and arrest you, Commander Savelle said. Listeners, this is where I bring the program to a close for today. It's been a pleasure coming your way, but as I said earlier on, BB Clement will be coming your way with BB Means Business So, don't you think of going away at all? But before we go, let's take this quick commercial break, and once we come back, I will then bring you my lovely tune for all my Yoruba listeners as well, and Nigerians as a whole. It's My Nation by Jeanette, but stay tuned. Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I bring the program to a close for today. So let me say it once again. Have a lovely day wherever and whatever you might be doing. But let's enjoy this song from Jeanette, and it says "Really Demi." And when that song ends and you don't hear from me, Archie. But remember, exactly at 1:30, BB Clement is coming your way with BB Means Business. Have a lovely day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye bye for now.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Thanks for listening.
Èmi ọ̀pọ̀ ló kò fara yẹ, èmi ò sọ.